back the other way. Rondo trying to find him. Bogoskovich.
How does one go from making $16 million while shooting game-winning free throws beside LeBron James to living on the streets?
I'm back to lead him all the game.
This, indeed, is the tale of Delonte West. As far as NBA childhoods go, Delonte's was among the roughest. His parents split up when he was young, and he was frequently picked on and made to feel like an outcast at school because of his red hair. He had a hard time fitting in for a long time. Delonte's sole real asset was his basketball skills.
West over Reddick, knocks it down.
This is what gave him confidence and a sense of self. It was the only thing that ever brought Delonte any joy as a child. But when he was 12 years old, he received his first severe injury, which kept him out of action for a long time. For the first time in his life, he wasn't able to escape his troubles by playing basketball, and he fell into a dark despair as a result. His mother realized he was having a hard time and made the decision for Delonte to stay with his father for a while. However, this only made matters worse. Until his leg injury healed, his father couldn't have cared less about what he was going through. And as his new school was full of kids who were terrible influences, he was tempted to start experimenting with prescription drugs and alcohol. Delonte might start to regain a sense of normalcy. Okay, let's get back to basketball. After a slow start, he became a high school star athlete and scored over 20 points per game. It was plain to see that this child had NBA potential. Then in college, he really stepped it up. In junior year, Delonte and Nelson, also a future NBA player, were regarded as the best backcourt players. Delonte was carrying the regular season torch, averaging 19 points per game. Moreover, the St. Joseph was led by its two stars, who together scored 30 points. Delonte West's prominence was thus assured. The Boston Celtics finally made their selection of Delonte West with the 24th overall choice in the 2004 draft. He finally realizes his lifelong ambition, but his success came with a price, as many people's dreams today quickly fell apart. His first few years in the NBA were disrupted by injuries, and it wasn't until he was traded in 2008 that the world got to know him, for better or worse. These injuries couldn't just leave our star players, can they? Delonte was given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity when he was moved to the Cleveland Cavaliers and given the starting point guard position alongside LeBron James. He had waited for this moment, but he also knew that his time with the Cavaliers would be fraught with controversy. During the preseason, they began expressing their frustration with the team by attacking other players. His actions today compelled the Cavaliers to go offline and consult with the team physician. As it turned out, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which greatly explained his pronounced swings in mood. So he began medicating, consulting experts, and adapting to his new reality. Nevertheless, that was only the start of his problems. Delonte led a hidden, mysterious life behind the scenes. In September of 2009, he was pulled over his motorcycle in the nation's capital. Delonte was stopped by police with 3 firearms in his possession, yet the incident did not make national news. When people noticed something was off in his life, they began to wonder what it was. As a result, he received a light sentence of 2 months probation, 40 hours of community service, and 8 months of house arrest. However, the following year, Delonte became embroiled in a scandal that tarnished not only his reputation, but also his bronze medal standing. The Cavaliers had the best record in the NBA, heading into the playoffs in the 2009-2010 season. LeBron was so determined to make his first ring, but once they were up 2-1 in the semifinals against the Celtics, the Cavaliers were eliminated after suffering 3 consecutive defeats. Former MVP player LeBron James has become disinterested. The sports media were quick to cover LeBron's tantrum. While investigating, they made a startling discovery. Delonte West had apparently been having an affair with LeBron's mother. According to urban legend, LeBron was thrown off his game during the Boston playoff series when he found out Delonte was hooking up with his mom. The two athletes suddenly found themselves the focus of worldwide sports coverage. After trading Delonte to the Timberwolves, the Cavs waived him. He signed a one-year contract with the Celtics from 2010 to 2011, his worst season. They threw them down before catching him. Dallas Mavericks were the last team to try him out. Due to his experience playing with LeBron James, the Mavericks signed him for 1 year in 2011 to 2012. However, that season was contentious. He wasn't this vulnerable since junior high. The 2011 NBA lockout began after players and owners couldn't strike a labor accord. No teams could acquire or release players. Players weren't compensated and couldn't use team facilities. Are you a fan of Delonte West? What advice could you give to him as a fan? He hadn't been very good with money in the past, and now that he wasn't getting a regular income, he realized he needed to change that. Even while he was getting paid, Delonte and his family barely made ends meet with their 8-bedroom mansion in Washington, D.C., which cost $1 million. The water heater failed during the lockout, so now everyone in the family has to use the stove to get a warm bath. Delonte had to work at Home Depot despite being an NBA player. He threw out anything that reminded him of his deficiencies to face his failure. He sold all he'd collected. Lockout was difficult, but it didn't last long. The NBA season resumed on January 2012. The Mavericks didn't eliminate Delonte. After hitting rock bottom, Delonte got a second opportunity. Only Delonte's recovery remained uncertain. Despite his personal troubles, Delonte was an accomplished NBA player. While he improved his scoring average to about 10 points per game in the 2011-2012 season, Delonte was still having a tough time on a personal level. There was no way for him to get housing in Dallas because of his criminal record. The Dallas organization wouldn't let him stay in their hotel, so he wound up sleeping in his car and the team's locker room. Happily, he worked with Mark Cuban, who gives the impression of actually caring about his employees. Mark immediately went and got Delonte accepted for a place after learning about his predicament. It looked like Delonte had all he needed in Dallas. He still had trouble getting out of his own way. Delonte extended his one-year deal with the Mavericks for the upcoming 2012 to 2013 campaign. In preseason, he overcompensated. He yelled and slapped officials and teammates. On October 15, after a poor preseason, the team had enough of the tune. Delonte was dismissed for disruptive behavior. Delonte blew angry with his teammates 10 days later after another preseason lineup. Delonte has been suspended again. Later, he left the group. His NBA career is over. Delonte lived on a balcony overlooking the arena. He was heartbroken, but he knew it was time to go on. He spent a few years playing on foreign teams in China and Venezuela, but he was never able to settle down. Delonte returned to the United States in 2015 to play for the Texas Legends of the G League, but he was sidelined for the year by an injury in April. As a result, he may now begin the darkest period of his life, which will bring an end to his days on the basketball court. Delonte West vanished without a trace. If you want to know more about where Delonte West has gone, continue watching the video. Before 2016, nobody knew who he was or what he was doing. One of his fans recognized him at a gas station. Instead of a photo, he got a bizarre experience. A fan shared photographs with the caption, "Bro had a hospital robe on like he escaped from the psych ward or something." I asked what happened, and he said life. Damn. Photos prove he wasn't on Earth at the time. Although appearances, he was not yet homeless despite going through a lot. Delonte West was long forgotten because of these photos. The last time we saw him, he was attacked on a major highway in a viral video. This became viral in the early 2020s. Delonte West is shirtless and handcuffed.
I'm the leader of the motherfucking goddamn Navy SEALs!
Jameer Nelson, Delonte West's old college teammate, said it's clear from the tapes that West needs help. Getting aid and spreading mental health awareness didn't work. He soon disappeared for months again. September 2020, we saw that he'd touched bottom. Describe a homeless NBA player's appearance. Delonte's begging sign in Dallas went viral. This shot made a web sensation. basketball fans rallied to support the line. LeBron wanted to fly Delonte to LA and pay whatever it took to help him, but no one could find him. Every minute counted, and it felt like there was no turning back. Mark Cuban was also after Delonte. Mark started making calls as soon as he saw Delonte was in Dallas. Mark eventually reached Delonte. Mark met him at a Dallas gas station. Mark later told reporters, "I could just confirm that I found him and helped him. The rest is up to Delonte and his family to explain." Delonte was quiet for a month. Mark then released a couple of images and an update adding, "Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Delonte West. A long way to go, but he's taken the first steps and shares them with all of us as a thank you for the love and support." Delonte looks alive and joyful for the first time in years, and now he's working at the rehab clinic he attends. This may be Delonte's last chance to save himself. Mental illness is a conflict that takes place within a person and is something they must learn to live with forever. Therefore, if there's anything that you take away from Delonte's or this film, let it be that it is acceptable to ask for assistance when you need it. In point of fact, Delonte's most courageous deed to date was getting into the car with Mark Cuban and admitting that he requires assistance. This is the most courageous thing he has ever done.